You know, it's like sometimes you finish a book and you're like, wait, I need the next one right now.
Mm-hmm.
That's kind of how I feel about like weight loss stuff I see. It's always like before and after, amazing transformation. But like, what about the after?
Yeah.
What about the keeping it going? And that's what I love about this deep dive. We're looking at all these materials about weight maintenance, not just the initial loss.
So important. It's like we treat it as a sprint when it's really, a marathon.
Right.
Right.
Totally. You've got to pace yourself. Speaking of which, one of the sources made me think like, how do we even define making it in the first place? How do we figure out our ideal weight without getting caught up in like crazy expectations?
Well, that's a really good point. And these materials, they actually have a few different ways to think about that ideal weight.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, well, one thing to suggest is using your current weight where you are now and aiming for maybe a small drop, like 5 or 10 pounds. Not huge.
So little by little.
Yeah, achievable chunks,
Yeah.
So it's not this huge shock to your system. It's more about building like those habits you can keep up. They even say give yourself a time frame, like a month or two, then see how you feel, energy, how your clothes fit.
I like that checking in because everyone's different.
Absolutely. It's about you, not some number someone else tells you to be.
No more comparing ourselves to like magazine covers.
Yeah.
So we've got the gradual approach. What else?
Well, another thing they talk about is this percentage reduction idea.
Okay, percentage. Math time. Do I need a calculator for this deep dive?
Maybe. But the big thing, before you even get the calculator out, is talking to a doctor or someone who knows your health history.
Right. Gotta be safe.
Exactly. They can help figure out what's a healthy percentage for you. But it's interesting because they also talk about your own experience, like looking at your weight over time.
Oh, like how it's gone up or down in the past?
Exactly. That can give you clues, like maybe you always gain a little during holidays. Or
Oh my gosh, yes. Holiday weight is real.
It is. But by seeing those patterns, you're not caught off guard. But they do say, don't just aim for the lowest weight you've ever been.
Really? Why not? Like if it happened before.
True, but our bodies change, right? What worked at 20 might not be the same at 40 or 50.
It's like trying to fit into those old jeans. Sometimes you just gotta let go.
Exactly. It's about finding a weight that fits your life now, not some past version. And that actually connects to this big idea they keep coming back to, honesty and being self-aware.
Okay, I'm intrigued. So honesty and self-awareness, what's that got to do with weight?
Well, they're saying to really make this work, you got to know yourself, your habits, what triggers you.
Like if you're an emotional eater or
Exactly. Or those late night cravings. It's about being more mindful, which they talk a lot about.
mindful eating. Tell me more.
So mindful eating, it's kind of like instead of just, eating, you're really paying attention to your body, to the food itself.
So it's not just what I'm eating, but how I'm eating. Like, am I actually tasting this or just like shoveling it in?
Exactly. They talk about tuning into your hunger cues, like are you really hungry or just bored? And then really experiencing the food, the flavors, how it feels.
Oh man. I know I've been guilty of like inhaling lunch while also on my phone, barely noticing what I ate.
So easy to do that. But then we miss those signals our body's sending about being full, and that's when we overdo it.
Makes sense. Oh, and speaking of bodies doing their own thing, there's this part in the materials, I gotta ask you about it. They say a person's weight can change like 7 pounds in a day. Is that even real?
It's true. Our weight fluctuates so much more than people realize. Hydration, what you ate, even hormones play a role.
7 pounds. See, this is why they say don't get obsessed with the scale every day. It's gonna drive you nuts.
Right. That's exhausting. It's more about, like you said, awareness, not control.
So not every calorie, but making choices I'm aware of throughout the day.
Yeah. Finding that middle ground where you're not stressing, there'll be days you have a treat or don't work out perfectly, and that's fine.
Progress, not perfection.
Okay, I can get behind that.
Mm.
Although there was this one suggestion, they said try weighing yourself hourly for a while. I don't know if I'm ready for that commitment.
I get it. It's more to illustrate the point, not necessarily something to do forever.
Okay, good, because that's a lot of trips to the bathroom. But they did have other tips, right, for actually staying on track, I mean.
Oh yeah, tons. Like keeping a food journal, but not to obsess, more like notice your patterns.
So I can be like, oh, right, stress equals candy bars for me.
Exactly. Once you see it, you can change it. They also talk about positive self-talk, like affirmations. Oh, I like that. Instead of beating yourself up, it's more encouraging.
Totally. Kindness goes a long way,
Yeah.
especially when you're trying to change habits. And speaking of support, they told this story about a woman, Fatima, who lost a lot of weight But then
Oh, yeah. What happened with her?
she goes to this family reunion, feeling good, right?
Oh.
But then she gets mixed reactions from people. Some good, some not so much.
Oof. Yeah, that's tough. Like you're figuring yourself out, and then there's how other people see you changing too.
It's a lot. And the materials talk about that, the fears some people have, like, of you being judged if they succeed.
Oh, wow. Like they're worried about how their relationships will change.
Totally. So they say, find your people, the ones who get it, who support you no matter what.
It really is so important to have people in your corner. But you know what gets me? Even when you've got support, there's those tempting, like, fad diets that always seem to pop up.
Oh, tell me about it. Quick fix, lose 10 pounds in a week, all that jazz.
Exactly. And the materials actually talk about, like, why those are so appealing, even though they usually don't work long term.
It's true. They really dug into the psychology of it. It's fascinating.
Okay, lay it on me, because I've definitely tried my share of those fad diets. Gotta be honest.
Well, we want things fast, right? Instant results, that's what they promise.
Plus, it's like,
A set of rules, which can be comforting, even if they're kind of crazy rules.
oh, for sure, like only eat cabbage soup for a month. It's weird, but at least you know what you're supposed to do.
Right. But the thing is, what happens after that month? That's where they fall apart. They're not teaching you how to eat normally, just restricting.
Yeah, like putting a Band-Aid on a broken leg or something.
Exactly. And then you cheat, feel bad, and the whole cycle starts over.
Been there. So the materials, they're saying it's more about changing how you live, not just a quick diet.
Totally. It's like finding what works for you, your body, your life, and building habits that last.
Okay, makes sense. But how do we stay motivated, you know? Because it's easy to say change your life, but then life happens, right?
That's so true. They actually suggest asking yourself some big questions along the way.
Oh, like what?
Well, they say think about the good things that'll come from being healthier, but also the bad things that could happen if you're only focused on weight.
Okay, so get real with myself, both sides of it.
Yeah. Like, how will this make me feel better? But also, could this backfire, make me stressed or unhappy in other ways?
Because if I hit my goal weight but I'm miserable, what's the point?
Exactly. It's about that balance, being healthy, but also enjoying your life,
Ah.
not punishing yourself.
This is really making me rethink some things, honestly. Maybe I've been too strict, you know?
It's easy to fall into that trap. But hey, that's what these resources are for, right? To give us perspective. And they have some good tips for staying motivated too, like finding your support system.
Oh, like we were talking about before, yeah.
Yeah. Friends, family, even a support group if that's your thing. They also mentioned trying new activities you actually enjoy helps you stay active without it feeling like a chore.
I've been wanting to try that new hiking trail. Maybe I'll find a hiking buddy.
There you go. See, it's
Yeah,
about
right.
finding what works for you. This whole deep dive has been so eye-opening. I feel like we really went beyond the usual weight loss stuff.
I agree. It's like, finally, we're talking about how to keep the weight off, not just lose it once and hope for the best.
Totally. And they had that great story, remember, about Pat Baird, the dietitian.
Oh, yeah. She lost, what was it, 80 pounds and kept it off for years.
Over a decade. Shows it can be done. And there's a link to her story in the materials. She has some really inspiring advice.
So for anyone listening who's like, okay, I'm ready to learn more, we've got you covered. Be sure to check out all the extra resources, tons of good stuff in there, because knowledge is power, right? Especially when it comes to our health.